Football fans, Gooners, welcome to another edition of the Positively Uncensored Arsenal podcast. I am your host, Shotta, and as always, my expert is my friend, Blackburn George. George, good morning to you from
Good
my
morning
part
to
of
you.
the world. I know it's afternoon, but we'll call it morning since the time of recording. George, yesterday at the Emirates, just reflecting on some of the points we raised last week. In my opinion, it was a splendid performance, to quote you, by the Gunners, which gives me hope that we could prevail if we can sustain this performance over the next two games. What is your opinion? Am I on the right track or not?
Well, I think we've got hope. We were ecstatic, full of hope and vigour for about half an hour until Manchester City thrashed that pack of wolves like they were mangy curs, mangy street curs. They didn't look much like wolves to me. They fucking destroyed them. You know, despite their efforts with having 7 at the back, sitting deep, didn't bother Manchester City at all. They just left Silver and Ford and wide in the areas that they gave up and cut them to ribbons. So it was a great performance by us. It was great to enjoy it for half an hour, but then the reality of what Manchester City keep doing hit home. And the nearer we get to the end, the more the games run out. There's still hope, but they don't look like dropping points. We don't look like dropping points. I think we've been
Yes.
I think the last 2 games we played really well. I thought we were lucky at Spurs, but still, we got it out of the way and got the 3 points. But Manchester City, I can't. I can't. I mean, who's going to beat them? Spurs? Oh.
Well, Spurs are almost out of top. They're getting that top 4 now. I think, but after Liverpool today, they will be irreversibly out.
Probably, yeah, and they're going to be deflated. They've got West Ham on the last day of the season at home. Well,
Yes.
bloody hell.
They have Fulham. They have Fulham next week Tuesday.
So I don't know.
They have Fulham. I'm sorry, George. I'm sorry I interrupted you, but Manchester City has Fulham next week Tuesday, I think.
Yes, they do. So
Yeah.
that's maybe our best hope. Maybe Fulham can do to them what they did to us, which was ruin our fucking season. Thanks very much, Fulham, you bastards.
Fulham is a decent team and a decent coach, Marco Silva. Marco, I hope that.
Yeah, but City are an exceptional team with an exceptional coach. Anyway, we can but hope. All we can do is do our best, and the way we're playing, it's good to watch. It bodes well for next season. If just Arteta can get rid of some of the players that he's bought for big money, and we can get some money back for them, we'll see where we go next season. But all in all, it's been a good season, and we've not finished yet. You know, I have to say, if we beat this City team to the title, it'll be incredible. And on the other hand, if Manchester City beat us, they've beaten a very, very good team to the title.
Yes, I saw Pep. On Twitter, some interview he had post match. He said if they drop any points at all, he thinks that we will win, and I think he's right. Because I think what I want to emphasize, George, I think we showed yesterday against Bournemouth, which is not a chopped liver, that we are good. We are great. People would say we are great. Fans would want me to use superlatives. We played very well. And you commented yesterday the expected goals, which people then poo-poo when they don't when it's against them, proves that we dominated them. And I think that was a good sign. Your thoughts on your additional thoughts
Yeah,
on
yeah. Bournemouth have been playing very. I think they've got the second most points since the turn of the year in the
right?
league.
Yeah.
So yeah, they've done really well, and but we made them look very much second class. And yes, our expected goals it was
3-8.
3.8, and theirs was
Three,
point
three,
zero 0.03 or something.
yeah,
Total
3 point.
domination.
Sorry, George. Let me correct you here. From SofaScore, the expected goals ours was 3.38, and theirs was 0.46 for the entire game.
Right. So we do, like I say, we dominated, and people will be happy to use those expected goals this week, but they didn't want to use them when we played Spurs
Exactly.
when they had twice as many as us. But
Right.
anyway, regardless of that, the performance itself. I mean, I don't know what provider you have, but we have Sky, and they were trying. The commentators were trying to make out that Arsenal had been a bit lucky. Fucking hell, a bit
No,
lucky.
George. We had 60 shots on goal
I know
in
it
the
could have
first
been.
half. For
They could have had
God's sake.
5 or 6 in the first half. There's no
Yes.
luck about it. It was hitting stray legs, and they were just jumping in the way of shots. And we
And the
did miss
penalty,
a couple of
George.
good chances. But I tell you what, when it was 1-0, Kai Havertz, early on in the second half, ran along the penalty box line
Yes.
and slid in Saka. And what a sitter he missed! I feared the worst. I thought you can't miss sitters like that and not be punished. It was only 1-0, and I don't. He had half the goal to aim at, completely empty, and he put it where the goalkeeper could stick a leg out.
Yes.
It was a shocking miss, and at that moment I thought, "Oh my God!" Anyway, fortunately, it didn't turn out to be that serious, and we got away with it. But that was a terrible, terrible miss from the star boy. But you're not to mention that.
No. But I think we gotta give kudos to Rice, because he made some surging runs from midfield. He set up Trossard, and then in the final goal in the death, the 96th minute, he himself picked up that pass from Gabriel Jesus, I think, to score. And I think what it proved that we had, making runs from that deep, George. You were you were something of an athlete in your day, but I can't claim that. But it takes a toll on you, and I could see him blowing after goal number 2, his goal, because he was determined. I thought I was exceptional.
Yeah, in the second half, when we did tail off a bit, I thought he
Yes.
was outstanding. But equally, I thought Martin Odegaard was outstanding in the first half.
Oh yes. Oh yes.
I
Oh,
mean,
absolutely. He was snapping into the
yeah.
tackles, leading the
I said
press.
yesterday, I think that Phil Foden's just got Football Writers Player of the Year. And if Odegaard had been English, he would have got it, because I think Foden is absolutely out of this world good.
Mhm.
But I think Odegaard has been better.
Of course. And I have, reflecting on games, sitting there, I said, if Odegaard gets injured, we are screwed, because George, he is in the middle of everything, and when he doesn't play well, we don't look as effective.
No, he's master of ceremonies, isn't he?
Yeah, well, I mean, Real Madrid don't pick you up at 18 or 16 or whatever, and we're lucky. I mean, I recall saying this guy is a boss when we got him on loan the first year, but Arteta saw something in him and decided he was gonna go back to Madrid and say, let us have this player, and he's proven to be the linchpin in our midfield, George.
Yeah, great player.
Yeah. Um, Talking about great players who get no respect, and I was going to share with you the who scored stat. Our David Raya, who, as I've said, is the unsung hero, finally got a 7 out of 10 by who scored. Week after week, I banged the drum that he only gets us maximum 6 out of 10, very often 5 out of 10. All of a sudden, yesterday, he gets 7 out of 10. Doesn't that seem to be someone belatedly recognizing that this guy is a Golden Gloves for a reason? And 50,
Well, he comfortably won the Golden Gloves. Comfortably.
Exactly. Yes.
And yet he gets criticised. And people say, oh, he's not as good a shot stopper as Ramsdale or whoever else that they want to mention. Well, if you look at his stats from last season, before he moved to us, he was the best shot stopper in the league.
Mm-hmm.
It's an absolute nonsense that he's a bad shot stopper, and his positioning's wrong. And the only weakness he has is he's not 6'4", 6'5". That's
right.
it.
Right.
But there you go. There's no point telling anybody that doesn't believe he's a good keeper that he's a good keeper, because they won't believe you. Facts and stats mean nothing.
Yeah, but if he was English George, they would be singing his praises of the highest people in London. You know what I mean? All the churches would be ringing bells. He's Spanish, so he can't be that good.
And you know what I think? And what I think the problem is he got his nose badly broken about 3 seasons ago. And up until that point, he was a really good-looking bloke. and that would probably have helped him, because that goes a long way, if they're half good-looking. I think the sofa score goes up by 1.5.
Yes. Well,
Ben White never gets less than an 8.
You notice, George, you broke a few noses in your time, or you certainly hit them there in your self-defense career. A lot of people take it for granted. Both of us are granted, but I don't take it. I know you know what you're talking about, George. I noticed something about Ray yesterday. I didn't want him to lose track of it in all the humor here. But the thing about he can play whichever way his manager wants him to play. Yesterday he was kicking long, George, because for some, I guess tactically they felt that Bournemouth was susceptible to the long kicks. People would say, well, he's the guy there for because he's good with the ball at his feet. But yesterday, the long ball. Did you notice that?
Yeah, there were a lot of long balls. But the thing about them is they're fairly accurate.
Right.
I mean, he doesn't get everyone right. No keeper does. Even Edison doesn't get them all right.
Yes.
But he gets a lot more right than Ramsdale, for instance. So, yes, he's good with the ball at his feet, playing short passes and into midfield, but he's also good with his longer balls.
Yeah.
And I guess that's why we bought him.
Right.
Arteta was right, and the others were wrong. And it's sort of been proven and borne out with the fact that he's got the Golden Gloves, and we don't seem susceptible at all. You get all these stupid people coming up going, oh, he concedes with every other shot and all this fucking rubbish stats that they make up. Well, no, he doesn't, because he's hardly conceded at all this season.
Of course.
And of course, the defence in front of him has a lot to do with that. I think if Ramsdale had played, we would probably still have let in very few goals.
Yes.
But we wouldn't have, I don't think we would have been secure, and we wouldn't have been as good building up from the back possession of the football with the goalkeeper.
Exactly. And George, the truth be told, Ramsdale's temperament was a little suspect. He probably loses concentration, or he starts
gets overexcited.
Hamming it up with the fans, and you need a stable character. And that last year he chucked in a couple of goals when it decisive moments in the match because of his over enthusiasm. I was thinking, George, that they're gonna sell him. He's gonna make a good keeper somewhere, and he's gonna mature. I mean, keepers mature back in our day in their 30s. Now we're they're grabbed up in their 20s. But I mean, look at Martinez, 10 years on our books, sent on loan, and now he's a top keeper. Keepers take time to mature. So the point I'm making, we're not saying Ramsdale cannot be a good keeper, but he was not ready. I don't think he was ready for the job in a top team challenging for the title.
No, and I just don't think he's as good as Raya. It's as simple as that. Overall.
Yeah.
In most aspects of his game, certainly not distribution, certainly not coming for the ball and claiming it. Yeah. Anyway, I think it's a problem that will be solved in the transfer market. It'll make me laugh. Let's see how much we get for him, because remember 12 months ago, Arsenal fans crowing that he was on the list as the most valuable keeper in the world. Well, let's see if we get 80 million for him then. Yeah.
George, I don't know what you fans think of listening to us, but I know his market value has gone down. And he's gonna have to earn his coin.
Well, he was never market value at that anyway. Nobody was ever going to pay top money for him.
Yeah.
But I think we might get our money back for him.
Yeah.
I'm more worried about getting our money back for Zinchenko and Gabriel Jesus.
Yeah, Gabriel Jesus came on as the substitute for Saka.
He did all right, to be fair.
Yes, but that's not what we bought him for.
No. If Mikel Arteta started him rather than Kai Havertz, the fan base would have a fucking meltdown.
Of course they would.
But yeah, 6 months ago, it was the end of the world when Jesus got injured and we were going to have to play Kai Havertz at number 9.
Yes.
It was absolutely because he was world class. He was the difference.
Yes.
He had been brought in and changed everything. He had brought us a winning mentality. All this bollocks that they spout was getting spouted regularly. And it turns out, if we could get our money back for him, we'd sell him tomorrow. I see Mikel Arteta denied that. Somebody did ask him in the press conference if it was true that we would listen to offers, and he said, no, I don't know where that's coming from. Absolutely not. But they always say that anyway, don't they?
Yeah, of course they don't.
They're not going to say, yeah, we're desperate to get the fucker out of here. Will somebody please buy him off us? That's not how it works, is it?
Yeah. George, Kai Havertz was brilliant. Last week we featured him and
he was brilliant this week.
He was brilliant, wasn't he? I mean, he got that penalty, which was by the way, George, what you thought of the penalty?
It was a bit of a Jamie Vardy, wasn't it?
Yes. The reason why I raised that is that we love inside Vardy.
If somebody else had done that
to us,
we'd be up in arms about it. It's the same when we played at Spurs. We should have given 2 penalties away, but we didn't. And if it happened to us, we would have been screaming corruption. By the PGMO, whatever they are. And it depends on which colour shirt you wear as to how correct the decision is. Nobody's honest about anything. But I don't think if he hadn't have given it, it wouldn't have been given.
Right.
We were not going to overturn the on-field decision.
Right.
So fortunately, he gave it. But if it hadn't been given and Barr had looked at it, we wouldn't have got it. So a bit lucky, I think. But it would have been an absolute travesty if we'd got to half-time at 0-0. I mean, it would, fucking hell. It would have been mad.
Yeah. And yet, George, contrast that, I suppose City was lucky with the Haaland penalty because the referee wasn't going to give it, but the guy, the VAR showed that the guy stepped on his plant, his standing leg when he was about to shoot,
If
and
it
that
was a
was
penalty.
yes, yes. But I don't, George. I used to be on the refereeing bandwagon, but I hardly join the parade because my own thing is that they're just inconsistent, and some are better than others, and some are more intimidated by home crowd support. Yeah, I think it's a useless pursuit. I don't know where you stand.
Yeah, I don't mind referees getting it wrong, but I have a problem when VAR get it wrong.
Yes.
When they spend 3 minutes looking at something and still come up with the wrong answer, that grates me a bit. And I don't think the on-field decision should come into it once VAR get hold of it.
Yeah.
It should be them deciding, was it or was it not a penalty? Or maybe asking the referee to look more often. But certainly the idea that simply because the ref has given it or not given it, and there's not enough evidence to the contrary, then that decision stands. I don't like that. Just excuse me a moment.
Yes, I see Cookies giving you trouble there, George. Let's just focus on myself. Yeah, but George, can you imagine that and they didn't even have the on-field camera for the ref, and I mean, it took 2 years to realize that was necessary. If you aren't sure, you let the ref have a look at it. Anyway, George, I mean, the PGMOL, they have their own agenda, and that we know. And people, it's part of the it's part of the Premier League organization. The Premier League has the clubs that they are their flagship. It was once Manchester United. I think to a degree now it's City, but they are concerned about marketing their product. Don't you think?
Yeah, I think it's certainly VAR is with us and it's staying. It's not going anywhere.
Oh yeah.
But, hopefully it gets better. And the length of time I don't understand that as well. You look at it 2 or 3 times. If you can't make a decision, go with the on-field referee's decision.
Yeah.
Or if you can't make a decision, ask the referee to look at the monitor.
Right.
But don't take 5 minutes and then say, "Oh, well, now can you go to the fucking monitor?"
Right.
Fuck's sake.
And these guys I think they're also worried about their reputation on the media.
I suppose they're concerned about getting it right because they want the job.
Yeah.
They don't want to get things wrong because when they make howlers, everybody else is on them. What's his name? Who's in charge of the refs now?
The old cop there, the one who used to manage games for United.
The ball fucker. They used to work for United.
Howard Webb. Yeah.
And then Howard Webb comes and throws them under the bus.
Yes. Slick he's slick. Yeah. George, I know you. From the sound of it, you're still favoring City. So, and I find it hard to dispute it. But points in hand are points in hand, George. And they have 2 away games. And the one against Spurs, I don't expect them to lose. But yeah, we're repeating ourselves here. But their hope remains, George. Hope remains, doesn't it?
All we can do is hope.
Yes.
But I think if you went to the bookies now, you would get that City are odds-on favourite to win it, despite being a point behind.
Yeah. That's because they've been there and done that. what about our game against Manchester United? We coming up. Everybody takes it for granted, but they can be they can be dangerous when they're up to it, George.
Can they? When was the
Can
last
they?
time you saw them play well?
That tells you a lot.
Yeah. I tell you what, if we don't beat them up there, we'll never fucking beat them up there. They're shocking. We've got to beat them. We've got to beat them.
George, I've heard that. I've heard that, dude. Post Ferguson era, we went up. They were supposed to beat them.
Yeah, and sometimes we did. But yeah, I can't think of a decent excuse for us. If they beat us, it's because we've not played well. It's not because they've played well.
Yes.
It's in our hands. If we play our game, if we play the standard that we've been playing recently, we'll win comfortably. But of course, every team's capable of being shit on the day. We proved that when we played fucking Fulham.
Yeah.
We proved it when we played Aston Villa.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so we can be pretty shit as well if we turn our minds to it.
It's a matter of choice, George. But you know, that's what the performance against Bournemouth gives me hope. We're getting back into form. We're not sitting back and expecting the game, counter-attacking. Maybe we'll do the same thing at Manchester United, but they're not very good at attacking anyway.
Well, maybe, but I just hope we see Jorginho playing up there.
Yeah.
Because I was watching Partey yesterday, and some of the things he does are really good. He's short passing, he moves it really quickly, and he's prepared to take a chance.
Got in the box.
He's more aggressive with his passing than Jorginho is. He's not as considered. He plays the ball quicker than Jorginho does, but his passing is nowhere near as accurate, and he doesn't see the real killer balls.
Right.
But I thought he played quite well yesterday, apart from occasionally he's a bit lumbering on the ball and catching. But I thought he surprised me this last couple of weeks. He's been better than I expected. I was expecting Jorginho to come back in. Couldn't really understand why he didn't, but I don't think there's an argument to say that Partey has let anybody down. I think he's been fine and dandy. So we look strong in that area. You know, I don't care.
He was good enough for Rice to go forward and not sit back.
Yeah, and if we play up at Old Trafford, him and Rice will probably sit together a bit more.
Mm-hmm.
But I wouldn't. I would go at Manchester United up there, because if you get that crowd turned,
mm-hmm.
you know, if you can get them turned on their own players, it's a horrible place for the United players, because they're so demanding for no good reason for the last 12 years. They still think that they should be the kingpins at home, and they're not that good. So I would like to see. I hope we go at them, and I hope he lets Declan off the leash up there at Old Trafford. But he knows better than me. Whatever he decides to do, I'll not complain about it. He's got a lot more right than he's got wrong. So
exactly. Well, George, we have a lot to look forward to. Saturday is going to be, in my opinion, decisive day. Our final match is against our final game is at home, and that, I think, just the home advantage alone, and being in the running for the title, Everton. Yeah, we're playing better now. Their style of ball, but yeah, let's see what the future unfolds, guys. Um, Thanks for your viewership over the especially last podcast. Like and subscribe. Leave us your comments. You guys are bad at it. And George and I speaking shite. To use your terminology. George, give some encouraging words to our listeners.
Yes, please do comment. It makes all the difference to us if you just stick a comment because you've listened, you've committed time to listening. Just give us a comment, good or bad. I don't give a fuck.
We don't. Neither do I.
Just say something.
You're right. Thanks, guys. We'll be back after Manchester United, but we are hopeful. Performance was very good, and with that optimistic note, wishing you all a good week, and hopefully our club might get a title after 20 years. Bye, George.
Goodbye.